Happening now, why Chautauqua County will not enforce New York's new mask mandate. Plus, the cleanup continues in several shoreline communities following a powerful windstorm in our area over the weekend.
Well, those winds are still going to remain a little bit breezy through the day today, but is there any sign of December yet to come? We'll talk about it in detail next as the news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now. This is WNY News Now with live breaking news.
Police are looking into the disappearance of a missing 14-year-old boy here in Jamestown. Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Jamestown police confirmed that Lucas Davis was last seen on Sunday morning. WNY Missing and Unidentified Persons reporting to us that Davis was headed to meet up with his cousin at Purcell Middle School. However, he misled his parents. Officers say at this point no foul play or abduction is suspected, but rather the youth just simply didn't report back home. Davis could be wearing a dark blue Champion hoodie, light colored jeans with rips in them, and a white Michael Jordan shoes with red stripes along the side. Anyone with information in this case is asked to contact Jamestown Police at 716-483-7536. The number again is 716-483-7536. Well, New York's new mask mandate begins for all indoor spaces across the state today. In an announcement on Friday, Governor Kathy Hochul cited the anticipated winter surge in COVID-19 cases and increased hospitalizations across the state as the reason for this re-implementation. While more than 80% of New Yorkers over the age of 18 are fully vaccinated, there has been a surge in new COVID-19 cases since Thanksgiving. Specifically, New York's 7-day average of new COVID cases has increased by 43%. While hospitalizations have increased by 29%. Any violations of the mask mandate could result in civil and/or criminal penalties, including a maximum fine of $1,000 for each violation. The new mandate, however, will not affect businesses or venues that already have vaccine requirements. The new mask mandate will remain in effect until at least January 15, 2022. After that, the state will reassess the status of the pandemic. And while Chautauqua County's executive agrees wearing a mask will prevent the spread of COVID-19, he feels the statewide mask mandate that went into effect today isn't the best strategy, and thus he will not be enforcing it. Executive P.J. Wendell says in the past, similar mandates have not been the best approach, with many small businesses faced with a tough decision: enforce the order or face losing customers.
I can't tell you how many times in the last 24 hours I've heard people say, if that's what they're doing here, I'll go to Erie and shop where I don't have to worry about this. That's concerning.
Early on in the pandemic, Wendell says many fights broke out at businesses who enforce statewide mandates, something he fears will return.
There are some people that are looking for that strife and conflict. Please, it's Christmas. If you walk into a business and they have the mandate there and ask you to wear a mask, if you don't want to wear it, then turn around and leave.
The executive says if the state wants the mandate enforced, they will need to do the policing on their own.
It'll be interesting to see how fast they bring staff in to enforce it, because for 2 years now, in 2 administrations, I've asked for vaccination help and testing help, and we've received nothing from the state.
In Chautauqua County, the executive goes on to say the focus needs to be on evaluation, vaccination, contact tracing, and testing to fight this winter surge of the virus. Well, in an effort to get a better handle on the rise of COVID-19 cases here in Chautauqua County, the health department is hosting a new testing site in downtown Jamestown this week. The free rapid testing clinic will take place today, Tuesday, and Wednesday at the South County Office Building on East 4th Street. Staff will be on hand today from 4 to 8, tomorrow from 10 to 8, and then on Wednesday from 10 to 8. Pre-registration is recommended to reduce your wait time, but walk-ins will be accepted as long as more appointments are available. To register, head online to chqgov.com. Face coverings are required at the testing clinic regardless of your vaccination status. Well, on to weather now, and cleanup continues in several shoreline communities along Lake Erie following this weekend's windstorm, including Sunset Bay, one of the hardest hit towns in Chautauqua County. Our Julia Gress is breaking down the scope of the damage there.
We already know that this caused widespread damage, down trees, down electrical wires throughout western New York, loss of power, some flooding. This community, according to our supervisor here, experienced 77-mile-an-hour winds, which is quite extraordinary.
The brunt of the damage happened along Lake Erie's waterfront, according to New York Governor Kathy Hochul.
Dunkirk and Genesee County experienced winds of upwards of 80 miles an hour. Other areas along Lake Ontario, 60 miles an hour. We've not seen significant flooding other than these very close to the waterfront homes. I do know Chautauqua County, the waterfront communities have also been hit hard, but inland there has not been a significant amount of damage.
During the height of the storm, almost 300,000 customers in New York were without power as a result of the high windstorm Saturday evening. As of early Monday morning, around 10,000 people from Buffalo to Dunkirk remained in the dark. The state is offering dry ice, bottled water, and shelters to combat the damages incurred over the weekend. There is one confirmed fatality from the storm, a man from Plattsburgh, New York, after a tree fell on his car. Storm chasers Mitch Bellinger and Logan Eskrich surveyed some of the damage in Sunset Bay.
I was heading back east, and I kept seeing flashes up in the sky, and I was like, man, that looks like lightning. But sure enough, it was power flashes due to the wind gusts that we had last night. Our highest wind gusts that we recorded was about 63 here last night. 63 miles an hour here at Sunset Bay Beach.
Similar to a hurricane storm surge, the team also mentioned the massive amounts of sand on the roadways that flooded in from the beach.
How far the water actually came inland, just about, a half mile up the street, there was water up to people's bumpers on their cars. Now that water has receded now, and it is slowly receding out of other areas. I know just behind us there's a little dip in the land. The water is still sitting there, but not moving. There's just nowhere for it to drain.
Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. Additionally, the two report that utility work continue now on Route 28 to clean up fallen trees and power lines. Wind in Sunset Bay was sustained at about 25 to 30 miles per hour throughout that evening, with occasional bursts of 40 miles an hour and up. Certainly really incredible video. Certainly glad to hear no one got hurt here in our area. Thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. Let us know what you think about these stories and more in the comment section down below. We appreciate you tuning in. It's great to see Diane. Good to see Patricia, Connie, Carol, and Sandy. Hopefully you all are having a great Monday as we creep closer and closer to that Christmas holiday, which is coming. Well, now let's continue our weather coverage now. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joining us live in studio with a first look at our forecast for today. And Dakota, really all eyes were on that video that Mitch and the crew were providing to us. Really incredible. I was talking to him on Sunday morning, and it almost reminded me a little bit of like what we'd see in a hurricane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and last week we had talked about this, how really it was going to be the high winds that would be an issue, but it was also this lakeshore flooding is the case. When you get these winds that whip across Lake Erie like this, you get these big waves that come across, and of course this is probably one of the more amazing pictures at Sunset Bay. You can see the waves coming on in there along the Sunset Bay beach community, and of course a lot of homes at the community were inundated with water, and the cleanup is going to continue there for a little while. And another example of how strong the winds were, this was in Dunkirk on Central Avenue. Mitch Bellinger was able to capture this of several power poles blocking Central Avenue in Dunkirk. So again, lots of power outages across the region because of the winds and also some of that lakeshore flooding right near the immediate lakeshore. But again, it really didn't get too far inland. It mainly stayed right at the lakeshore community, but still devastating nonetheless. But there's no rain out there today, or really no high winds out there either. It's still going to be breezy today. But again, the satellite and radar cleared today. Not really a cloud in the sky. 41 was the high yesterday. Started the day at 30, 62, and 21 below zero are the record highs and lows for the day. So through the afternoon, lots of sunshine. We'll see a few clouds move in through the afternoon hours, but a brisk breeze, 43 to 50 Not feeling like December at all, with a southwest wind 10 to 20 with some gusts up to 30 miles an hour. Now we're going to stay basically sunny through tomorrow. The winds may return through the middle of the week, but is there any sign of that December cold and snow on our way for Christmas? We'll talk about it in detail with that Ultimate Satellite Solutions 7-day forecast later on in the show. Justin.
Yeah, I'm sure it's always a big debate, right? To have snow or not to have snow. I'm in the have snow category, of course.
Just for the holidays. Then
Yeah.
after that, it can go away.
I totally agree. Of course, we'll see you back here in about 12 minutes' time. Thank you, sir. Well, as more Omicron cases are detected here in New York, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand pushing to create a COVID-19 and pandemic response centers of excellence to help combat future public health emergencies.
COVID is not over, and that tackling pandemics and public health challenges is and will be an ongoing effort. Viruses evolve, and our ability to respond must evolve alongside them, whether it's our ability to monitor and meet the needs of COVID long haulers, track new variants like Omicron, or prepare for the next public health crisis.
The senator now proposing legislation that would give $10 million to at least 10 academic medical centers across the country for real-time response efforts for COVID and future pandemic preparedness. She says these academic medical centers will help communicate research and best practices to public and private hospitals as well as local communities. The legislation would also allow the Department of Health and Human Services to give grants to academic medical centers to help with patient care, mental health resources for frontline workers, clinical trials, and research for vaccines. Well, staying in Washington, the U.S. House of Democrats has released a new report that is divvied up into Big Pharma's drug pricing practices. They say prices not only have skyrocketed recently, but that these pharmaceutical companies need to be held accountable, and they want to do that through new legislation. Republicans pushing back. They tell our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp they don't support the Democrats' bill that would achieve this.
The House Oversight and Reform Committee, along with Speaker Nancy Pelosi, released a massive 269-page report zeroing in on pharmaceutical companies' drug pricing practices. Over the past 3 years, the committee reviewed 1.5 million pages of internal company documents, which included internal strategy documents, communications, and non-public pricing data. They found that over the past 5 years, companies raised the price of brand prescription drugs by 36%.
First, we found that drug companies target American patients for price increases, in large part because Medicare is prohibited from negotiating for lower prices.
The report says these internal documents provide significant new insights into the tactics drug companies use to raise prices and keep them high by suppressing competition. The Dems are using this report to help bolster support for the Build Back Better bill, where in that legislation, people on Medicare will pay no more than $2,000 a year for their out-of-pocket medicine expenses and put a cap on insulin costs to no more than $35 a month.
But this is a situation where now we can end pharma's outrageous price hikes. That's what we have to do.
Republicans have strongly fought back the BBB, saying it'll be too costly. Representative Tom Reed, who is also against the BBB, has long advocated for lowering insulin costs. He told us in part, "We care about lowering the out-of-pocket cost of insulin for those impacted by diabetes, and that is why we supported former President Trump's cap on the cost of insulin, which President Biden later rescinded. This is a classic example of Washington's playing politics and not wanting to give the other side a win as real Americans suffer." The Senate has not yet voted on the BBB legislation. At the Capitol, Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you. Coming up, what's next for the Buffalo Bills following last night's loss to the Bucs? And later, we celebrate a local high school senior who gave up her Christmas presents to help U.S. troops, not just this year, but for the past 5 years. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
Happy holidays from WNY News Now. EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Hi, I'm Al Steffens, owner of Chautauqua Comics. For the last 28 years, we have been your premier retailer of comic books. But we have so much more.
Located at 214 Fairmount Avenue in Jamestown, the shelves are stocked with everything from superhero to classic G.I. Joe and Star Wars. Looking for Pokemon? Chautauqua Comics has it all.
If you have any questions, stop in today or give us a call. Chautauqua Comics, Al speaking.
Welcome to Honest John's Pizzeria, where you are the most important customer.
Everything from freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has it all.
And don't forget the ice cream!
Order online today or check out our 2 great locations with buffets ready for every appetite.
Don't I have the best job in the world?
What could you lose in a home fire? Your possessions? Your home? Your memories? Don't let your world go up in smoke. Make sure you have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones, because fire is everyone's fight.
This message was brought to you by the Jamestown Fire Department and the Chautauqua Safety Village.
Wishing you a safe and happy holiday season. WNY News Now, the Jolly Team, where coverage comes first.
Well, Josh Allen put together an impressive performance despite playing much of the game yesterday with a leg injury. Allen threw for 308 yards and 2 touchdowns and ran for a 109 yards and a touchdown in the Buffalo Bills' 33-27 overtime loss to Super Bowl champs Tampa Bay Buccaneers Sunday. The quarterback drew more attention post-game when he came into his media session wearing a walking boot on his left foot. Allen will undergo some tests today. A Bills victory looked hopeless cause at the half when Buffalo was trailing 24-3. Then Allen, who became the 4th player in the league's history to throw for over 300 yards, also rushed for 100+ in the same game, spearheading a stunning comeback, which in the end just fell short. The Bills realize time is running out in the playoff race, by the way, and they need a surge over the regular season's final 4 weeks. Well, at least 3/4 of one Kentucky town is gone following a streak of deadly tornadoes that tore through the heartland over the weekend. Determined recovery efforts are beginning as thousands of residents grapple with the devastation. So far, at least 80 people have died, but officials expect that number to climb over 100. Isabel Rosales has the latest from Mayfield, Kentucky, one of the towns hit hardest by the storm.
The impact of the deadliest day of tornadoes to ever hit the U.S. in December, clear in the destruction and devastation left behind across 8 states.
And it came and it just, in a matter of 2 minutes, it just blew everything up.
Thousands upon thousands of structures demolished.
The house is gone. There's nothing left.
Communities laid to waste.
Nothing that was standing in the direct line of this tornado is still standing.
The death toll expected to rise, search and rescue efforts turning into missions of recovery as the likelihood of finding survivors dwindles.
Every day that goes by, we lose a little bit of that hope.
Those that made it out alive, sharing harrowing tales.
This store here is what kept us alive.
It felt like there were 10 grown men on the other side of this door trying to pull it off the hinges.
President Joe Biden declaring a major disaster in Kentucky Sunday, releasing federal funds to aid in recovery efforts.
We will be here tomorrow in the days, weeks, and months ahead until the recovery is complete.
Facing an uncertain road ahead, residents now left to pick up the pieces.
There's so many families hurting here. It's just hard to wrap your head around how serious the situation is here.
In Mayfield, Kentucky, I'm Isabel Rosales.
Well, the Chautauqua Safety Village is celebrating the holiday season this week with a special Christmas in Whoville event that's happening tomorrow. The Safety Village is opening their Route 394 complex in Asheville from 5 to 7:30 for pictures with St. Nick and a chance to even meet the Grinch. Additionally, kids can make a craft, play games, and try their festive scavenger hunt while enjoying the whole Whoville decorated village. Food and refreshments will also be available for purchase. Admission is $5 per person with kids under 2 free. Well, you can be sure that Pekin Peak, they're anxious for the snow to fall and for their skiing season to get underway. In the meantime, though, Santa's sleigh made its way to the peak for a special breakfast with kids over the weekend. Each child had the chance to visit Santa Claus and at least enjoy some scrambled eggs as well. There was also bacon, sausages, home fries, and fruit. Now, we got the chance to talk with Santa about how he enjoyed the visit.
It is so much fun to come to the peak. They have everything here, and the kids are wonderful. Really enjoy coming here.
Now, Dakota, we don't know if Santa skis, but Pekin Peak, they're offering 26 trails and slopes vying for various difficulty levels and terrain parks. Their Christmas wish list, of course, lots and lots of snow.
Well, unfortunately, in the short term, I don't have any of that.
Yeah, I know. Thank you all for joining us for WNY News Now. Let us know what you think about these stories and more. And a quick note for you, you can check us out here on Facebook, but also on channel 716 on Roku as well. Certainly great to see Diane and Connie and Sandy. And I know Connie was asking, Dakota, is it too soon to know if we would have snow for Christmas? I know we mentioned it, and we talk about this voodoo country, you call it, where we don't quite know what's going to happen. Is Christmas still in that?
Well, Christmas is still a little bit in voodoo country. Of course, anything after 7 days, you know, we talk about this a lot, is kind of out there in no man's land. Still a little too early to put an official stamp on it. Now, of course, a white Christmas is defined as having 1 inch of measurable snow on the ground on Christmas morning, and it's going to be tough, I think. It's going to be a tough one to get it, but we're not prepared to make a judgment on that quite yet. But the one thing we can make a judgment on is the wind gust from yesterday. It was a bit breezy. 25 was the peak wind gust yesterday, which is, who cares, kind of wind gust when you compare it to the kind of winds we had on Saturday. And the winds are still going to remain a little bit breezy through the day today, so it still will be a little bit breezy. In fact, here's the forecast wind gust for you. And again, we'll talk about wind gusts possibly around 35, about 25 to 35 miles an hour through the afternoon. So it will be a bit breezy still, but at least it won't be damaging wind. So in terms of the trash can wind-o-meter, if your trash goes out tonight, yeah, you may find your trash can a little bit tipped over there. So at least it's on the lower end of the scale compared to where it was. Some people's trash cans on Saturday are probably gone, out of here, halfway to Syracuse is probably where some of your trash cans went on Saturday. So we've got the sun peeking through from the HD News Now cam downtown. We're at 43 as the noon hour, and it's breezy though. Southwest wind at 15 with a wind gust at 20, and the winds do bring the wind chill down to 36. So it will be a little bit of a brisk breeze out there through the afternoon hours. So yeah. But it's December, but it's not feeling like it, though. High pressure and control across the northeast here. This is a high pressure ridge that is set up here. So really nothing through the day today, and it's going to stay quiet through the next couple of days across much of the area. And the good news is we had talked about it, all this devastation that occurred down in the south. Of course, they've got good weather now for the damage surveys, and we don't know the ratings on these things yet. We likely won't know the ratings for days because there's so much devastation and destruction they're still going through doing the damage surveys. So, but back here we have no. Well, for those of you who are still kind of picking up the pieces from Saturday, you'll have some good weather through the day today. The time is weather, but the time is moving, but the weather ain't changing. And you can see we'll get in a few more clouds as we go through the overnight hours. Tomorrow, filtered sunshine, partly to mostly sunny, but it still will be a nice day. Temperatures mild for this time of the year. Again, we're talking 40s once again, and then by the time we go into Wednesday, we'll see our next chance for some precipitation, but it will be in the form of rain. 42 degrees at 1 o'clock today at on MetroCast. By the time we go into 5 o'clock, 43 with the sun still out there. Watch for the sunset. 38 at 9 o'clock, and it will be a clear night for the evening hours. Now, the next 7 days of your life, powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. 44 for tomorrow. We basically stay mild throughout much of this week, and really the next chance of snow really doesn't look like it's going to be until the second half of the weekend when temperatures return back down into the lower 30s. But even that is going to be a scattered to isolated deal. We'll take a break. Be right back.
Wishing you a safe and happy holiday season. WNY News Now, the Jolly Team, where coverage comes first.
Remember when you were a kid, huddled around the television waiting for your school to close? Well, we don't get snow days. When winter weather hits, count on the First Defense Weather Team for a look into the future where the snow is headed next. Live radar showing you the scope of the storm. And real-time reports from the field. So when it matters most, stay with First Defense Weather.
Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
Happy holidays from WNY News Now.
With the community's help, the Blue Star Mothers here in Chautauqua County put together 831 care packages for troops overseas this past weekend, with one local student trading in her Christmas presents to help make the effort possible.
Over 300 people showed up today just to pack a box. Many are packing more than one.
So many people have come together to make this event possible, including Southwestern High School senior Melissa DeVore, who for the past 5 years has donated money normally spent on her Christmas presents to the cause.
Just the feeling of knowing how many people it's helping just keeps me coming back every year.
DeVore, including her mother, brother, and boyfriend Drew, continued their annual tradition on Saturday.
In the first year, she was in 8th grade, and her mom contacted me and said that my daughter would like to. We asked her what she wanted for Christmas, and she just wants to donate to the troops.
Since then, she has helped put together thousands of boxes, with everything from personal care items to notes and letters handwritten by area school children enclosed.
I like to look for the ones that have a lot of color in them from the younger kids, because I think they're very cute. And this one has a cute reindeer sticker on it.
Explained DeVore as she continued down the packing assembly line.
You have many options of different jerky sticks, and these are really good, especially the Slim Jims, are really good at filling the corners of the boxes because you can put a lot in.
From there, the boxes are loaded up with things like granola bars, trail mix, fruit snacks, and candy, a treat she loads up on.
Don't forget your toothpaste to counteract all your candy.
Oh, thank you, Mom.
As the family makes their way to the end of the line, items like packets of coffee and hot cocoa and things like notebooks and pencils are added, filling the package to the brim.
I just think about how excited the soldiers are going to be, thinking about all the things that are in here and all the delicious food and snacks and candy.
Once the boxes are taped up and shipped out, they're sent to troops overseas, like U.S. Marine Corps Colonel Charles Watkins, who recently returned from the Middle East.
It's neat to receive that stuff when you're overseas, and it's very special to know that those back home are remembering.
When soldiers write back, thanking Blue Star mothers like Farley Fisher, those handwritten messages seem to resonate the most.
These are from little kids. They're thanking the servicemen for their service and not being home with their families.
The group doesn't specifically know where the boxes end up, they just know the impact it makes.
This is Christmas right here, and this is where Christmas starts for so many families.
just so incredible to see. If you want to learn more about the Blue Star Mothers, check out their Facebook page. Really great to see the community coming together. Thank you for Melissa for not only doing that, but for putting up with our cameras on Saturday. That is it for us today. News 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. We're back here tomorrow, live right here at noon.